All right, let's dive into one of the most powerful and consequential scenes in the entire Mahabharata. We're talking about a single, shocking moment of humiliation in a royal court that directly lights the fuse for a catastrophic war, sealing the fate of millions.
So, here's the path we're going to take on this dramatic journey. We'll start with a queen's public disgrace, then witness a desperate prayer and an unbelievable divine miracle. From there, we'll hear the terrifying vows of vengeance that get sworn, and finally, see how a scared king tries, maybe a little too late, to undo all the damage.
Okay, so picture this. We're in the royal court of the Kurus. The Pandava brothers have just been tricked into a rigged game of dice, and they have lost everything. I mean everything. Their kingdom, their brothers, even their own freedom. And now, their shared wife, Queen Draupadi, is literally dragged into the hall to face their gloating, victorious cousins.
Now this, right here, perfectly captures the agonizing tension in the room. On one side, you've got Karna, just filled with old grudges, viciously attacking Draupadi's character. But look at the other side, her husbands, the mighty Pandavas. They're completely powerless. Not because they're tied up with ropes, but because they're bound by their own strict code of honor, their dharma. They feel they have to honor their word even in a crooked game. So all they can do is sit there in absolute, silent agony.
And this is where the horror just escalates. Egged on by Karna, Prince Dushasana walks up to the weeping Draupadi. He grabs the end of her sari, fully intending to strip her naked in front of all the kings and elders. It's the ultimate act of public humiliation.
So, in her absolute moment of need, Draupadi looks around for help. But her husbands? Powerless. The respected elders of the court, men like Bhishma and Drona, they're silent, trapped in their own web of allegiances and conflicting duties. You know, human justice, human morality, it has all completely failed her. Her situation is utterly hopeless.
And that really raises the critical question, right? When the laws of men fail, when the strongest warriors can't act, and when the guardians of virtue just look away, where in the world can you turn for protection?
And this right here, this is her only move left. She lets go of her sari, lifts her hands to the sky, and just sends out this desperate, wholehearted prayer to Lord Krishna. It is a moment of complete surrender, an admission that only a divine power can possibly save her from this nightmare.
And with that prayer, the entire scene just flips on its head. We go from the absolute depths of human cruelty to an act of divine, unexplainable grace that leaves the entire assembly just stunned. So Dushasana, he's laughing, right? He starts pulling at her sari, thinking this will all be over in a second.
He keeps pulling, but something's not right. The cloth, it just keeps coming. Draupadi is still completely covered.
So what's going on here? Well, it's pretty clear her prayer has been answered. Krishna has heard her cry, and through his divine power, he is supplying an infinite length of cloth to protect her honor.
The miracle is just undeniable at this point. You have to imagine a literal mountain of colorful fabric piling up on the floor. Dushasana pulls and pulls until he just collapses from exhaustion, totally defeated and publicly shamed himself. Draupadi is safe.
So, the divine intervention stops the immediate horror, right? But what it unleashes is a whole different kind of storm. The spell of silence is broken. The sight of this miracle and the raw memory of what was just attempted, it unleashes a terrifying fury within the Pandavas.
And that's when Bhima, the powerhouse of the brothers, just can't take it anymore. He leaps to his feet and he makes this chilling vow, a promise of brutal, bloody revenge against Dushasana. The whole room is shaken. This isn't some idle threat. It's a sacred, unbreakable oath.
You'd think after seeing a literal miracle they might back off, right? Nope. The arrogance of the Kauravas is just off the charts. Their leader, Duryodhana, actually revels in their pain. He pats his thigh in this vulgar, deeply insulting gesture, inviting Draupadi to sit on his lap like she's his property.
And that is the absolute final straw for Bhima. He just explodes with a second, equally terrifying vow, this one aimed directly at Duryodhana himself. He swears an oath to shatter the very thigh that was just used to insult his wife. So now, 2 vows of blood have been sworn in the middle of the court. So now you have these 2 terrible vows just hanging in the air, heavy and ominous. And suddenly, the gravity of what has just happened starts to sink in, not just for the people in the room, but for the entire kingdom.
And it's like the universe itself is screaming, no. As if on cue, the world outside just reacts. A jackal howls from the sacrificial chamber, donkeys start braying, and the sky fills with the cries of birds of ill omen. Nature itself is signaling that a terrible injustice has just occurred.
And this is what finally gets the blind king to act. Not the humiliation of his daughter-in-law, but sheer terror. Terrified by the omens and Bhima's deadly serious vows, King Dhritarashtra, who had let all of this happen, is finally jolted into action. He actually denounces his own son, realizing the catastrophe he's just unleashed.
So, in a panic, the king tries to fix things by offering Draupadi any boon she wants, and she is incredibly wise. First, she asks for her husband, Yudhisthira, to be freed, making sure her son won't be known as the son of a slave. Then, for her second boon, she asks for the other 4 brothers to be freed, along with all their weapons.
But then he offers a third boon, a chance to get her entire kingdom back. And this is where her incredible character shines through. She refuses. She says, greed destroys virtue. Even after everything she's just been through, she upholds righteousness, saying her husbands will win back their fortune through their own noble actions, not through a handout born of fear.
But of course, the insults aren't quite over. As the Pandavas are leaving, Karna has to get one last mocking jab in. He points out that these mighty, celebrated warriors had to be rescued by a woman, a final twist of the knife to their wounded pride.
And that's really the heart of it all. The Pandavas walk out of that hall as free men, not slaves. But the damage is done, the insults can't be taken back, and Bhima's terrible vows of revenge are still echoing in that court. The seeds of the great Kurukshetra war have been well and truly planted. There is absolutely no going back.
Hey, if you found this deep dive into one of the world's greatest epics compelling, please do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us continue to bring these powerful stories from our shared human heritage to life. Thanks for joining us.